Here we go. So I'm gonna take a brief moment to talk about mechanics in fighting games, right? Like I'm hearing this best worst thing because of parry, but it just sounds to me like when I hear stuff like that, I'm gonna be 100. It just sounds to me like you have very weak-minded footsies, or you have very weak-minded tricks, very weak-minded mind games. Your neutral game is weak because so you blame the system mechanic because you can't play neutral, like or you can't play this game's version of its neutral. So to me, it's just like that's your fault. Who else can blame? Like who do you blame for that? As you. That means your neutral's weak. Period. Like, if you can't handle the parry mind games, that's literally like a testament to your fault. Like, it's not the game's fault that you can't parry. The option's there for you. You just don't know how to utilize it, you know?
It be like that though.
Like, if it's too difficult for you, that's fine. Or you like the game, but then it's like, oh, these characters aren't playable. Well, that's bullshit. In all fighting games, you could play bullshit low tiers. People in Alpha 3 in Japan still run fucking Rainbow Mika. That character sucks ass. Motherfucker still play her. You know? Birdie's trash. People still pick him. But that's because they're a student of the game. The game didn't change. Like, they're still playing the same game that they were playing when it came out. Unless they play Alpha 3 Upward. That game sucks. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, the game didn't change. Like, there's no DLC patch. It's just you stuck with it. Now, it doesn't mean that patching versus non-patching is good or bad, right? But, like, they stuck it out with the character to learn how to play. CVS2, Chi Q, he's one of the first fucking Rolento players, and people thought that character was a fucking joke. That character's a problem. That character ended up being one of the more annoying characters in the fucking game, dude. He also was one of the first to pick Sakura in tournament. Most people didn't pick Sakura. This was before A grew Sakura. He played Raiden. He like killed it. Like if like half the people who talk a lot of good game in CVS2 would play Chi Q in like a 1st to 10, Chi Q would probably fuck you up with his team. Straight up. And his Raiden was probably his best character. Like Chi Q specialized in like weak characters, but he found the shit that made them good. So people had like this fallacy of certain characters being bad, and Chi Q would play them, and then they're not really bad characters. More so in CVS2 than other games, but like Chi Q was just really good, and he finds like the most abuse. I don't know if he still plays anymore, but like he would find the most abusable shit with a weak character, and people didn't know how to handle it because the character was deemed shit, and he's like playing it and like getting top 8s in tournament. Sure, he may not win because, like, in CVS2, you fight Cammy Blanca Sagat. Yeah, you get fucked up. But they wouldn't beat him for free. That's the thing. Like, he's good as a player, and he's good with the team. He knows how to fight the top tier, so it's like the game gave him the mechanics. Like, he's playing the same game everyone else is. He could pick Cammy Blanca Sagat just like anyone else, but he chooses not to. You know what I mean? And yeah, Sakura player won Evo Japan in Street Fighter V, despite it being a super top tier heavy game, right? But that's every game. Everyone's gonna pick the good shit because they want to win. No one wants to enter a gunfight with a fucking butter knife. You know, you want to make sure if you got a gun, you want to have a good one. You don't want to walk in there with a fucking shitty gun. You know what I'm saying? Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's bullshit, in my opinion. When people sing that song about those things, like, again, it's okay if you don't like the roster, but like if you're gonna talk down on the parry mechanic, yeah, I don't know about that. If you kind of clown crush counter, I'd be like, you know what, you got it. You know, you want to clown on instant blocking? I'd give you a lot of shit, barring which version of the game you're talking about. Like BlazBlue's instant blocking, they made it tame because in that game, motherfuckers had 5-frame jabs, and 5-frame jabs are the fastest moves in that game. And instant block used to be -5. Like it would make the opponent -5 more frames. So getting certain characters like Ragnar's fucking unplayable in BBCS1. That character's fucking unplayable. You instant block any one of his fucking normals and he's -5. You interrupt with your 5-frame normal and you kill him every single fucking time. So they made it -3 instead of -5. But it's still just as bad because you got characters like Kazama who instant block just about anything super and then trade and then you die. Granted, it didn't hold true all the way at the end of the game's lifespan, but it's still an option that fucker has. To the point to where I think they kept kind of lowering his invincibility for him on the Jyoku Super. You know what I'm saying? So like, I just feel like for every time I hear something about like something being dumb or being broken or this is too good, it's like people don't like to lab the counter. Like you don't like to lab. People don't like to lab the answers. Cry until someone like myself fucking puts it up on the internet and then you're like, yeah, now I know how to deal with it. It's like, man, you have access to training mode just like I do. Use your fucking brain. Don't be lazy. But that's the problem. Man, motherfuckers are lazy. So, what can you do? Air parry makes jumping always a guessing game. So what? Hell sweeps are a guessing game. Mids are a guessing game. Chipping lows are a guessing game in Tekken. Like, I don't know what people want in fighting games. It sounds like people want this constant, like, this robotic, my turn, your turn, my turn, your turn. Like, dynamic interactions in fighting games are what make them fucking unique and make them fun to play. Not this gentleman's my turn, your turn. Sometimes it's gonna be a slugfest, you know? Sometimes that's just gonna happen. You know, not everyone likes, like, people complain about mashing. Like, motherfuckers have been mashing since fucking Street Fighter 2, man. Like, when I see the mashing in Street Fighter 5, it's like, I understand now. Or I see the mashing in, like, yo, Marvel? God damn. Yo, motherfuckers won't even play you if you play Magneto because he's unblockable. Motherfuckers are, like, it's very difficult to mash out Magneto. You know? Especially if you don't have fucking Psylocke. So, come on, man. Like, there's a big, like, disconnect when it comes to this nonsense about who's mashing and who's not and shit like that. It's like, motherfuckers, even people who's talked this good game about, man, I don't mash, and then like they check you out of pressure and like, I'm not mashing. Well, check, mash, whatever. You can call it whatever the fuck you want. Whatever makes you feel good about not being called a masher, because everyone mashes buttons, right? Everyone will press to get away from a pressure situation, or they don't want to get thrown or some shit like that, or they press throw or whatever, right? Like, it's an option. You chose to press a button and maybe you got counter hit. That's your fault. But if I block, I'll get thrown. That's the fucking game, you know? I don't want to deal with that, so don't fucking play fighting games, you know? Like, strike throw is gonna be a part of every fighting game, no matter how you look at it. I mean, wanting different things is fine, right? But I think you can't. Strike throw is in every fighting game, period. You can't beat that. So if you don't want to deal with throws, are we gonna go back to the 90s where we're in the arcades where you throw someone and you beat them up? Like, throws are there to open people up. Like, there's like, don't throw me, dog. Throwing is dishonorable. No, fuck that, motherfucker. You sit there and down back with your life lead, I'm gonna fucking chunk your ass, bitch. What the fuck? This isn't free. This isn't like, yo, don't throw me. No, get thrown, fucker. That's what this shit's here for. No. Everyone has a universal fucking throw to open people up. That's part of the game. It's also part of defense to try to discourage it by pressing a button, uppercutting, super, reversal. Like, these are your reversal options. Are you not gonna exercise your reversal options because, like, you know, you shouldn't? Because, like, you can die for it, but I mean, that's still a part of fighting games. Like, you guessed wrong, period. There's no two ways about it. It's like blocking a mix-up. Well, I guess wrong. I died. Oh, he died in a set play. So you rather die to oppressive buttons or set play or mix-ups? Like, it's really silly. It's really, really silly. Yeah, I agree. Street Fighter V's throw system's a little silly, but keep in mind, what the funny thing about it is Street Fighter V is a Guilty Gear game. I think that's part of the reason why Capcom players have a difficult time. I think it's a Guilty Gear game because Washige is a Guilty Gear player, and throws die. I mean, normals get beat by throws in Guilty Gear. Point blank simple. Same shit happens in Street Fighter V. It sucks for Street Fighter, but it's a new thing. Should it be there? It's subjective. The problem with Street Fighter V is their removal of, like, universal defensive options such as the Throw Tech OS. But they wanted to get rid of option selects because of the way Street Fighter 4 was. because mad people couldn't deal with option selects. So now everyone just presses buttons, which rightfully so, because no one wants to uppercut because I made uppercuts weaker. But it's also because crush counter exists. So people are not willing to use a reversal option too many times or too much unless they have a good enough read. Then they'll go for it. But it's too situational. It's too situational. You know what I mean? I think I grow tired of like hearing and reading stuff on my chat about certain aspects of fighting games, and it's just like, I don't know what you want. It's like, I don't know what you want. It's, and I think the developers feel the same way. They don't know what the fuck people want. So I don't know. Mix-ups exist in all games. Mashing exists in all games. Why are we acting like that shit don't exist? Yeah, sure, certain games you might die for it harder than others, but it still exists. So, I don't know. That's my TED talk on that bullshit. People don't complain when JP players are bar. Of course not. Because Japan can never do any wrong. I guess it goes to the risk-reward ratio and the options given in the games. Yeah. It's definitely... The risk-reward is definitely a thing. I think that's kind of where a lot of fighting games nowadays somewhat falter, because some of the risk-reward ratios can be a bit skewed. Obviously, that was a big problem with Street Fighter V, but I think they've done a better job of it now from what I can tell, from what I've been playing. It seems like it's a lot better, and obviously everyone agrees that this is probably the best season at the moment. So, I don't think it's that bad. It obviously has its issues. It's not a perfect game. But I mean, no fighting game is perfect. The perfect fighting game is like, I don't know. I love, you don't want your fighting game turning into a card game, right? I mean, if by that you mean my turn, your turn. I mean, Marvel games have always been known as very oppressive games, but their neutrals are very, neutral game in Marvel is always dynamic. So it's never a, Marvel neutrals never cut and dry. And then there's different playstyles. I do think still some of the issues with playstyles does kind of come up with the new fighting games, but that's because they want players to understand quicker. So I think it's very difficult to have playstyles in some cases. So, and yeah, the perfect fighting game is the one you enjoy the most. Like, bruh, can't stress it enough, man. Student of the game, always. This game, CVS 2, man, started here, and this game is what brought me on this journey to being a fighting game player. And then it moved into Guilty Gear, and then so forth and so forth. But I never stopped loving this game.